What do you do when you feel stuck in your marriage? Should I leave? Should I go? Welcome back to the Secure Husband Podcast. Bruce Abbott, certified professional coach and founder of SecureHusband.com. This is for guys who are in a really tough spot because you're not in crisis. There's no cheating involved. There's no infidelity, but you're not really thriving in your marriage either. And you're trying to decide, is the grass greener on the other side? You're both good people. Maybe you've got kids. You don't want to blow up the family. You've got finances. What do you do? Because you've built this life together over 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, sometimes years, but the connection feels dead and you're living like roommates more than being a romantic couple. You're polite, you co-parent, but you are lonely. One of the biggest fears you have is that phrase, I love you, but I'm not in love with you. And you search through books and podcasts and videos and courses. You're looking for the answer. Here's the kicker. There is no clear answer. So you're stuck between, should I stay and suffer, or should I leave and blow up my family? If this strikes a nerve, hey, you're not alone. I talk to countless men in this exact situation. And you know what? You're not broken. You're just feeling stuck at the moment. So here's what I believe is the truth in this situation. And I think most men in this space need to hear this. If she's not cheating, if she has put up with your crap, and you've put up with hers, if you are still together and you have a family and you're still together after all these years, in most cases, my advice is you don't need to leave. You need to lead. And this was the driving force behind creating the Secure Husband process. Because you got to get out of this state of limbo and get clarity by healing the deeper parts of you that are aching for more. And this is a hard place to be in. I mean, let's be honest. It's a pretty brutal, lonely place. Because if it were really toxic or if she had cheated, your decision would be pretty easy to make. Even insecure men or men with low self-esteem or low self-worth know when enough's enough. But when it's not that bad yet, it hasn't reached that point where no one is quote-unquote bad. Just your marriage has become emotionally disconnected and nothing feels right and you don't know which way to go. Why it's so painful is because you don't trust your own clarity anymore. And in the Secure Husband process, we always start with just noticing things. You just notice that lack of clarity because you've tried talking and you've tried avoiding and you've tried reading books and you've tried watching YouTube videos, you've tried counseling maybe, and it's still stuck. And I believe that is because the solution isn't always external. This kind of stuck place often isn't about deciding between staying or leaving. It's about asking yourself, have I done the inner healing that gives me clarity no matter what? And that's where the work begins. The real work in healing your marriage. So just notice what you're feeling. Notice what you're really feeling when you're stuck. Those emotions, they're all over the place. Anger 1 minute, numbness, guilt, longing, loneliness, resentment, helplessness, they all mix in together. And then you either try to fix it, find a solution, or you numb it out. You don't just sit with it. Just sit with it and actually feel it. And ask yourself, okay, where in my body am I feeling this? Am I feeling this in my chest? Am I feeling it in my gut? Okay, what emotions am I afraid to feel? What am I avoiding by staying stuck in indecision? And just be aware of this. Whether it's fear of being alone, whether it's shame that you're not enough, grief, what you thought the marriage would be, you've got to face those feelings before you can find direction. And it's often confusing. You get early hormones and chemicals when you're in that early honeymoon phase of your marriage, and then over time, that dissipates. Even in the healthiest marriages, that dissipates. It hits harder for you. And then you have to understand what's going on. And then you face these feelings before you can find direction. You have to face it. That's when you can build clarity instead of running from your emotions. And then, as we always say, then you get to choose. You get to take action next. And you choose to lead yourself through it. Because let's be honest, most guys in a stuck marriage, they're waiting. They're waiting for her to change, or they're waiting for the right moment. They're waiting for certainty. They're waiting to feel certain about making a decision. And you can be stuck in this phase for decades. But waiting is not leadership. And this is where you make a decision. This is where you choose. You decide, I can't control her. I can't predict the future, but I can choose to start healing myself today. And this is where your spiritual connection becomes crucial. We've talked in previous podcasts. You stop looking to your wife for direction, and you start listening to something deeper, whether it's God, the universe, the voice of your higher self, and you ask, what is loving here? Loving to me, loving to her? What do I need to see about myself? What kind of man do I want to become? Whether this marriage revives or not. And that's the shift from helpless to centered. Does it mean, I'm going to stop expecting affection in a marriage? No. Affection is important in a marriage. But that affection isn't going to come when you're feeling like the victim and helpless. And this is where you center yourself. And this is how you journey towards healing yourself and healing your marriage. And at this point, and with your spiritual guidance that you have, you connect to that inner boy we always talk about who believes that he's unlovable, because most men who feel stuck are actually reliving an old wound. We talk about old wounds all the time in this podcast. That wound of rejection or disconnection that started long before your marriage. It could be a mother who was emotionally distant, a father who was critical or absent, had a temper, a home where connection came with strings attached or didn't come at all. And we always say when your wife is disengaged or emotionally flat, what triggers you is not her. It's the younger version of you that thinks I'm not enough. No one ever stays close to me. Here we go. It's happening again. I have to earn love. But you're not that boy anymore. And your job now is to become the strong, secure man who shows up for that little boy. And you say, I know this feels familiar. It feels uncomfortable, but we're safe now. I got you. We're going to lead through this. We're not going to run from it. You don't need your wife to fix that pain, and she can't. She can't fulfill that hole inside of you. So you need to stop expecting her to and start healing it yourself. And as we always do from this point, we start digging into those beliefs, those false core beliefs that are keeping you stuck. And you ask yourself, what story am I telling myself about this marriage? Am I playing the victim? What do I believe about love and worth or staying too long in a marriage? What fear is driving this indecision? And you'll find these false beliefs saying things like, if I leave, I've failed. If I stay, I'm weak. She'll never change. Maybe I'm just too much. Or maybe I'm not enough. But the real truth often lies underneath all of that. In this belief that you've carried around for decades that love always ends, or I'll never be chosen, or I'm only as valuable as what I can provide. And just stop. Check in with that higher guidance. Check in with God or the universe. What is the message that you're receiving here? What does love say here? What would a secure man believe instead? This is where clarity begins, not from logic, but from truth. And then you can take action. And this is where it gets to the nuts and bolts practical side that men, we're fixers. So action is what we do. And most men in this spot will stay for the kids, for the stability, for the hope that things could shift. And honestly, that's usually the right move. But, and this is important, not if you're just staying to hide. You stay to heal yourself, not to wait passively for things to get better. Let me repeat that one more time. You stay to heal yourself and not waiting. You're not waiting for her to change. You're not waiting for things to passively, magically get better. Because staying and hiding looks like numbing out, whether it's alcohol, porn, drugs, whatever. Or you hide with resentful silence, withdrawing. Or you avoid crucial conversations, sometimes even withdrawing from intimacy, which seems incredibly counterproductive. So staying and healing is doing your inner work and rebuilding your identity and reconnecting spiritually and leading yourself regardless of her actions. This is where the secure husband process shines because it gives you something to do, not just something to tolerate. And as you grow, not only do you become more peaceful inside, happier, content, you gain clarity in what you really want in your life, but your marriage, most of the time, it will revive. And if it doesn't, the decision becomes clear. and you no longer feel stuck, and you can make a decision one way or another. But you make that decision from a place of peace and not a place of being stuck and playing the victim. So you get to walk forward in peace and not pressure. And when you've done your healing work and continue doing it, you stop walking on eggshells. You're no longer pressuring her to love you a certain way because you love yourself. And you're no longer hoping for one magic moment to finally make that decision. You're in peace. You're rooted and steady and whole. You're the mighty oak. You're the secure husband. And from this place, healing happens. And you can invite connection without desperation. You can have hard conversations without fear. You can build a new marriage, or maybe know when it's time to lovingly release it. But I can tell you from working with men in this process, and I can't say this with 100% certainty in every situation, but what I find more often is when you heal yourself, your wife becomes a little softer. She starts to reconnect a little more. You're now no longer reacting, and she starts to gain trust again. And you trust yourself again because you're no longer making decisions from your wounds. You're making decisions from love and wisdom for yourself and for her. If you're in that stuck place, not happy, not devastated, just numb, unsure, disconnected, you don't have to stay there. You don't need to make a final decision today. You just need to decide to heal yourself starting today. And when you do, the clarity will show. The fog will lift. Your marriage might soften. Your clarity might sharpen. Your peace might grow so strong that whatever happens next, you'll be okay. That's what the secure husband process is about. It's not about staying in pain forever and loneliness forever. It's about becoming so whole that the next step, whether staying, restoring, releasing, leaving, whatever, it becomes obvious. You don't need certainty to begin the process. You just need to begin the process. You don't have to stay stuck. Transformation is possible. Hey, I hope this podcast helped you out today. If so, please give me a review, hit that subscribe button for more Secure Husband episodes. Share this episode with some men who may really need to hear this, who may be stuck. Visit securehusband.com for more resources and to book one-on-one coaching with me. And I'll see you again on the next Secure Husband podcast. Thanks for listening.